Imagine a liquid specifically engineered by nature to turn a 60-pound creature into a 1,000-pound beast in just a few short months. It is packed with growth factors, high-energy sugars, and a specialized cocktail of hormones. Now, consider this. Humans are the only species on the planet that seeks out this substance from an entirely different animal and continues to drink it long after we've grown up. We've been told for generations that milk does a body good. But what if our bodies were never actually meant to process it in the first place?
Across the animal kingdom, mammals share a biological pattern that has remained unchanged for millions of years. Babies drink their mother's milk, they are weaned, and then milk disappears from their diet forever. Milk is not a general-purpose food. It is a temporary, highly specialized tool designed to support rapid growth during the most vulnerable stage of life. Once that phase ends, the biological machinery that processes milk naturally shuts down. In the wild, you will never see an adult wolf seeking out milk, and no mother continues to produce it indefinitely. Humans, however, are the grand exception to this rule. We have turned a brief, purposeful biological event into a lifelong dietary habit, but our biology might be trying to tell us something different.
To understand why this is a mystery, we have to look back 10,000 years. Back then, almost every human on the planet would have become physically ill from drinking a glass of cow's milk. We were all born lactose normal, meaning our bodies stopped producing lactase, the enzyme needed to break down milk sugar, right around the time we were weaned. It wasn't until a rare genetic mutation appeared in a few specific populations that some humans gained the ability to digest milk into adulthood. But here is the catch. Despite what we see in Western commercials, that mutation is not the global norm. In fact, roughly 70% of the world's adult population has a reduced ability to digest lactose. For the vast majority of humans, drinking milk leads to fermentation in the gut, causing bloating, cramps, and distress.
But the problem goes deeper than just an upset stomach. Let's look at the science of what's actually inside that glass. Cow's milk is formulated for a calf, not a human. It contains growth factors like IGF-1 and various hormones that are designed to signal cells to divide and grow at an explosive rate. While that's great for a baby cow, in a human adult, these signals may influence inflammation and even contribute to conditions like acne. Then there is the sugar. Milk contains lactose, which our bodies break down into glucose and another sugar called galactose. Here is where it gets strange. Scientists actually use high doses of D-galactose to intentionally induce aging in laboratory animals. In humans, a diet high in galactose can lead to the accumulation of metabolites within our cells, increasing oxidative stress and potentially accelerating the aging of our organs.
The impact is even more visible in our youngest. We think of milk as a nutritional safety net for toddlers, but overconsumption is actually the leading cause of iron-deficiency anemia in children over 1 year old. Cow's milk can actually interfere with how a child's body absorbs iron, and because it's so filling, children often stop eating the iron-rich foods they actually need. It's a strange irony. The very drink we give children to make them strong can sometimes leave them tired, weak, and pale. Even our most basic assumptions about bone health are being challenged. There's something researchers call the calcium paradox. You would expect countries with the highest milk consumption to have the strongest bones, but the data shows the opposite. Hip fracture rates are actually higher in affluent Western nations where milk intake is high, compared to developing nations where people drink very little dairy.
Take the Beja people of Sudan, or certain populations in Northern Europe. They are among the few groups who evolved lactase persistence, allowing them to drink milk as adults. But even for them, being able to digest the sugar doesn't mean the hormones and growth factors in cow's milk are a perfect fit for human biology. Contrast that with East Asian populations, where nearly 90% of adults are lactose intolerant. In these cultures, traditional diets have flourished for millennia without a drop of cow's milk, proving that the necessity of dairy is more of a cultural narrative than a biological requirement. Even the way we name the condition is revealing. We call it lactose intolerance, as if it's a medical disorder, when in reality, being unable to digest milk after infancy is the natural, ancestral state for our species.
This brings us to the most mind-blowing realization of all. We drink milk primarily for the calcium, but our body's requirement for calcium isn't a fixed number. It's a sliding scale based on what else we eat. Diets high in animal protein and sodium actually cause the body to lose more calcium through the urine. This means that the more animal protein we consume, the more calcium we think we need, leading us right back to the dairy aisle in a never-ending cycle. We are essentially drinking cow's milk to replace the calcium that a high-protein diet is stripping away from us. When you look at the big picture, the need for milk starts to look less like science and more like a massive biological mismatch.
So, if milk was designed for a different species, for a different stage of life, and for a different growth rate, why do we keep it in our fridges? Today, we have more alternatives than ever before. Plant-based milks like soy, oat, and almond don't just avoid the digestive issues of dairy, they also have a significantly smaller environmental footprint, using up to 10 times less land and 20 times less fresh water than cow's milk. We are living in a time where we can choose nutrition that fits our adult human biology, rather than sticking to a specialized growth fluid meant for a baby animal. The definition of milk is even changing. Centuries ago, dictionaries defined milk not just as something from a breast, but also as an emulsion made from seeds, like almond milk. Maybe it's time we go back to that broader understanding and finally wean ourselves off a habit our ancestors never had.
Looking at all the evidence, from cellular aging to the calcium paradox, it's worth asking, have we been misled by the got milk ads of our youth? Our biology was designed to thrive on a variety of foods, and for most of us, the white gold in the carton is an evolutionary anomaly. If your body is part of the 70% that wasn't meant to drink this, why force it? Now that you know the story behind the glass, do you think humans should finally stop drinking the milk of other animals? Or is the tradition too deeply bottled into our culture to ever let go? Let us know in the comments if you've made the switch to plant-based and why.